Welcome to Inside the History here at Battleship Cove. My name's Tom Lowney, Gunner's Mate First Class, retired. We're going to today look at turret 3 right now, but all 3 turrets are similar for access, both on deck and down below. So we're going to take 2 parts here. We're going to look at egress, top, inside, and around the turret. And then we're also going to look down below and look at entrance for the turrets from down below, because there's only 2 ways to get in, from up here and down below. So let's go take a look. We'll go from there. We'll check out down below and go in through there and see how you come out through the turret through the bottom with the ammunition as well. Since you can't come into the turret through the barbette, your ammunition has to go all the way down to the bottom and then brought up into the individual magazines or inside the turret. Your powder goes in the magazines, your projectiles go inside the turret. So the monorail piece you see here on the floor, we just actually use this to bring in boiler pieces, and we have it set up so it extends out on deck, so that way you could use a chain fall to pick the projectile off the pallet, bring it in on the monorail, and drop it down. So that monorail piece would normally be stowed in the overhead up here out of the way, but since we were using it for bringing in some equipment, we had it out, but it would normally be stowed in for at sea when not in use, so that way you close your hatch. So that's one way to bring in ammunition. You had multiples for each turret because you had to unload both powder and projectiles at the same time. So time is of the essence, so you had 2 trunks for each turret. This one being the starboard. Port side would be right over here. Out on deck, actually, is where that is. Now, that one would be going down to the forward magazines, so offset. On the Iowas, the turret has to train out to a certain preset position to line up a boom that comes off of the turret, so that way the chain fall could run, your hoist could run all the way down through the trunk. So that way you wouldn't have to have an elaborate monorail system come in, train the turret to its load position, set up your chain falls and your hoist, and set them right in and unload. But again, that's a progression from the South Dakotas to the Iowas. So that's how we bring ammunition on board for onloads. What we'll do is we'll go below, we'll look at it that way, and show you how they went in. All right. Okay. Now here we have a simulated projectile. This is to give you an idea of the size comparison. Now this is for the 2,224 pound armor piercing, not the super heavy 2,700. This would be the standard projectile for the Battleship Massachusetts. The only thing missing here is the green ring. So this is not painted up completely properly, but this is what a armored piercing projectile would look like. High explosives, black body, and rotating band. So that's another subject, another time, but just to give you an idea on the size of the projectile and how things operated. We're down now in the very base of the turret. As you can see here, this is how we get into the turret. There'd be a hatch both port and starboard side, dual access trunks. Now if you look directly above us, right here, that's the bottom of the trunk. The hatch is closed at the bottom of the wishing well here and locked up. But the shells would come down, chain fall is here. You would take that projectile sling, take it from a vertical position, pull the pin, pivot it, take it to horizontal, bring it in, and then you take it up into the upper shell decks, and the shell decks here. Now the powder would go into your magazines, which would be here and in here as well. So these would be 16-inch powder mag, and this one, this is the 20 millimeter deep well magazine. Okay, so you'd have that. Now, in here is access to the lower spaces and not a magazine. So this would be your double bottom where your machinery spaces would be connected in throughout the ship, because the lower level is below this and the double bottom. So this is just an access port below. This is your primary entrance trunk here. So just think about this when you're coming into battle. On Battleship Massachusetts, you can come down through here. We cut the deck open and provided an easier access for people to come in. Now on the North Carolina and the New Jersey, they cut through their armor bar beds. So even though it's easier access for them, but we were able to use a simple 1/2-inch steel deck and put a ladder in, come out through the magazine, 20mm magazine, to entrance to the lower level. So that way we kept the integrity of the ship's structure, not like what was done on the other battleships. So Greg Shippey and Dick Ross came through here, and they went through and systematically figured out a way to get access in here. So when you're coming through to visit turret 2, lower levels, see the insides of the turret, you're coming through what used to be a 20mm magazine setup, as well as a 16-inch magazine with access through next to Combat Information Center. That was all bulkheads. 3 access points brought in through 1/2-inch steel, which was an easier job than cutting through X amount of inches of armor. So you're able to come in through here, but you got to remember the crew now, their way to come down to the turrets and magazines were through these trunks, not just the ammunition, but the trunks. So if you had a berthing space up here, you were probably one of the persons who were assigned to the turrets, so you get to your battle station most fast and effective way. So coming down through here, jumping in a turret, and up through. So these are your only points here for personnel, this hatch, the other hatch on the other side, which on this one would be forward on port side, aft on starboard. Again, difference between the Iowas and the South Dakotas. They're progressive design modifications as they were done and built and changed. So each group, from your old-fashioned dreadnoughts to fast battleships like the North Carolina, South Dakotas, the Iowas, and then the Montanas. Everything is built as you go along, you progress, learn, and insert design changes. So that way you're improving the class, saving space, weight, and time, and making it a more effective platform. But this setup with the turrets having the access in the top and bottom, that was to prevent minimum amount of access for battle damage that may happen outside of it, and let the armor protect the ship as much as possible. So that's why we have the access here. So that pretty much wraps it up for the turrets and the access, points of interest. So we just wanted to give you a little more information, an idea what's going on and how things work on a battleship. Part of Inside the History, bringing history to you to show you, and you can learn and have that information. Thank you for coming. I hope you come back and see our other shows, and I want you to like, share, and subscribe as well to help keep us making the information to get out to you and to preserve these ships, because these ships are your history and we want to keep it and preserve it to bring it to you. Hope to see you here. Again, my name is Tom Lowney, retired gunner's mate, U.S. Navy. Thanks for coming. Take care.